Well, did you miss me? Did you miss me out there? It's only been a few hours since I was behind this microphone. I got to fill in on Bud Henninger Live this morning, and now you get to hear me do my show, Beyond Reason Radio, here on News Radio 102.5 WFLA, and, of course, streaming live on my website, BeyondReasonRadio.com. Beyond Reason Radio is sponsored by Doc's Streetside Grill on West Orange Avenue, right across from ORMC, your prescription for good times. So, Tom Benson, long time no see.
Yeah, how about that?
The people got to start their Friday morning with me.
That's right.
And they get to end their Friday evening.
And tonight's the night for the big Rolling Stones concert at Citrus Bowl.
So there's probably a lot of people on the way.
However, the hip people are right here tuned to 102.5 FM and 540 AM.
Yeah, WFLA. Yes, exactly right. Or if they're on the way to the concert, they can listen to me on the way. Sure. So it's perfect. How better to spend your Friday than with me, the host, Michael Yaffee, on Beyond Reason Radio. And it's amazing. When I come up with the name Beyond Reason, I am more and more sure that is the perfect name for this show. Because once again, there is so much stuff going on that is just plain beyond reason. It's crazy world out there today. Maybe I should call the show Crazy World. Crazy World with Michael, because today, breaking news of today, Obama was trying to push fast-track authority for trade agreements. It's something that presidents have had in the past. This will give him the authority to negotiate trade agreements with other countries, which he's trying to do with Asia right now. And it will give him the fast track so Congress just vote on it. There's no way they could amendment or really review it. Just gives the president more authority. And you're like, okay, who in the world would want to vote to give Obama more authority right now? Hasn't he already used enough authority? I'm just saying. Well, believe it or not, there are some people who do want to support Obama on this, if you can believe it, Tom Benson.
Well, the thing is, here's a guy that for the past, 2 years, 3 years, ignores Congress and does a lot of things via executive action. And then all of a sudden there's something he needs. He treks up to the Hill.
Yeah, which he did this morning.
Yeah, and, if he's got to go there in person to bend arms and twist people's minds to vote his way, he's in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. And he was in trouble because, believe it or not, the people supporting Obama were people like Ted Cruz and the Republicans. And the people who really voted down the fast-track authority were Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats.
Say what?
I know, I told you. Today is Beyond Reason Crazy World. It's unbelievable. Now, Ted Cruz couldn't vote on it because it was the House that voted on it, but Paul Ryan and others have been really supportive of fast-track authority, and then Nancy Pelosi has been against it. Nancy Pelosi against Obama, Republicans for Obama. I don't know what to do here. I'm very confused here, Tom Benson. First, let's go to the people who support it. This is what Ted Cruz said in a radio interview about why he is supportive of the fast-track authority, which gives Obama the power to negotiate trade agreements on his own. Here he is.
I ran supporting free trade, just like Ronald Reagan did. I believe free trade benefits American farmers and ranchers and manufacturers, that opening up foreign markets helps create jobs here at home, and that's why I supported TPA. I haven't taken a position on TPP because we need to see what's in it first.
Okay, Senator, just...
Oh, sorry, I meant to edit out that. So there's TPA, TIP, TPP, TP, I don't know. There's a lot of acronyms for all this stuff. The TPA was the fast-track authority, and he is supporting it. TPP is the Trans-Asian trade agreement that they're trying to pass next, which would give more trade agreements with Asia. All right, but right now I want to focus on fast-track authority. He says he supports it because presidents have had this in the past, and he supports free trade, and of course he throws in Ronald Reagan. That's what all conservatives do now. They support Ronald Reagan. They just say the name Ronald Reagan, and we're supposed to support what they say. Sorry, I should probably turn down my phone before I do a radio show. That shows how amateur I am. Anyways, what bothers me about what Ted Cruz said is I thought he's talking about how this has been done for years. I thought Ted Cruz was all about changing Washington. We need to change the corruption of Washington. The executive branch has too much power. We need to go back to the Constitution, and we need to go back to giving Congress its rightful authority. That's what Ted Cruz has been all about. But then his argument is that, well, the president has had this authority for years. This is just the way it is. This is the way Washington works. Exactly, Ted Cruz. That's the way Washington works, and we're sick of it. Now, some other presidents might have used the trade fast track authority wisely, but I don't care. Because now Obama is president, and now there's no reason I should trust President Obama with anything, especially when it comes to free trade, because I don't think he's for free trade. There's other motivations behind this, which I'm going to get to in a minute. Now back to Beyond Reason Crazy World. We have Nancy Pelosi talking about why she's against it. It's amazing.
We have an opportunity to slow down. We all know we have to want to engage in trade promotion and the rest of that, but we have to slow down this problem because it is not, whatever the deal is with other countries, we want a better deal for America's workers. And so while I'm a big supporter of TAA, if TAA slows down the fast track, I am prepared to vote against TAA because then its defeat, sad to say, is the only way that we will be able to slow down the fast track.
Wow, I never thought I would say this in my entire life, Tom Benson, ever. But that sounds pretty reasonable, to slow down the fast track. Because it's going too fast. Obama wants to speed this up. He wants his trade to go by. And she doesn't like it. It's too fast. I wish she would have been like that, for Obamacare.
Oh, yeah.
We weren't allowed to read that bill. But now this one she wants to slow down, of course. So I don't buy anything she says either. But it's just amazing. I don't know what to do here. Ted Cruz, who I usually like, is saying to support Obama.
You have agendas at play here.
Of course.
Pelosi's got one, Cruz has got one, Obama's got one.
Yes, and thank you for that. Actually, speaking of the agenda that maybe Obama has, what is this really all about with President Obama? Because we know he doesn't support free trade. Everybody knows that. So why is he so big on getting this passed? Now, before I get to there, I might very well support this trade agreement, except I have no idea what's in it. Nobody knows what's in it. It's been very secretive. Another thing that shows the corruption of Washington, D.C. And another reason why Ted Cruz should say, no, I'm not for this because this is Washington as usual. Exactly. But what is in this? Well, WikiLeaks did leak some of the stuff that might be in it. And there's one thing that I found interesting. One thing that I might be able to say why Obama is so big on this. Now, we all know Obama's been looking at executive actions. He passed an executive order to promote basically amnesty for illegal immigrants, for children of illegal immigrants coming in, bypassing Congress, which he didn't have the authority to do. Well, the courts have overruled his actions, and he's kind of backed down on it because he can't win the argument in the courts. So maybe he's looking for another way. And it turns out, and this is according to the WikiLeaks, that this action, the Trade Act, would dramatically change U.S. immigration law. It would give the president that power that he wouldn't need Congress anymore because basically Congress is supporting this, and it would give the president and would give businesses the power to increase the number of immigrants coming in this country without the approval of the law, without the approval of Congress. It's right in this bill. That's what WikiLeaks is saying. So it looks like this would give him an opportunity to sort of dodge the laws and do his own thing. So it's very convenient, I think, that Obama earlier this week said he was going to back down on the executive order. And now he's pushing a so-called free trade agreement to possibly get more immigration or illegal immigration to go around the immigration laws.
And by the way, while you're here, illegal immigrant, how would you like to vote?
Gee, that has nothing to do with it. Turning Texas into a blue state, no, that can't have anything to do with it. Yeah, that'll be the next step. I think we talked about that last week, how some believe illegal immigrants have the right to vote.
Yeah.
Talk about crazy beyond reason world. Other reasons not to support this is one thing he thinks Obama said is why we should support this free trade is this would give the opportunity for other countries in Asia to address, I'm so sick of saying these words. Go ahead.
Climate.
Yeah. There you go. You got it. Climate
change or whatever.
Change.
Yes.
So sick. Oh, man. I just remembered. We might have to pull this up in the break, Tom Benson. I saw this online today. There was a story ABC News did. It was a television thing.
Oh, but their predictions of 2008 that by 2015, June
their predictions
2015.
Of 2015. Did you see that?
New York City would be underwater.
we might need to pull up that video because it is hysterical.
Well, that almost
it is hysterical.
That almost happened with the hurricane a few years ago, but not quite.
No, not nearly quite what they were saying. The predictions that they were talking about with that, we might have to pull that up in the break, but Obama with this trade stuff, and I'm supposed to support him, and I'm supposed to support giving him more authority. Unbelievable. Beyond reason crazy. What if you disagree with me? There's a lot of conservatives who do. I've seen articles in the National Review, of all places, supporting Obama in this. I don't get it. I don't get it. Why would we want to give him more authority? Why would we want to fast track around Congress? Why would we want more illegal immigration, which seems to be in this? 407-674-1025. We're going to get to that. We also have some other beyond reason crazy world stuff out there today. Trans black. Have you heard of that term? That's a new term out there. We'll have that. You are listening to Beyond Reason Radio, News Radio 102.5 WFLA, and, of course, BeyondReasonRadio.com.
It would be beyond reason not to listen to Yaffee on your TuneIn Radio app. Download the app today and search Beyond Reason Radio. If you miss any of the show, you can download the Beyond Reason podcast on iTunes. Now, back to Beyond Reason Radio.
Yes, the best way to start your weekend is to hear Michael Yaffee, that's me, the voice of the millennial generation, the voice of reason that sifts through everything that is beyond reason, which there is a lot of beyond reason stuff out there in the world. We talk faith, culture, and politics on this show. Make sure to go to my website, beyondreasonradio.com. You can check out all the different ways to find the podcast. And make sure to follow me on Twitter at Michael Yaffee, and follow this show on Facebook, facebook.com/Beyond Reason Radio. So, it's 2015, and it's, according to ABC News, it's a disaster out there. It's all crazy what climate change has done to us. In 2008, they made some predictions about where we would be because of the dangers of climate change. Let's see where we are, Tom Benson.
In 2015, we've still failed to address the climate problem.
We're going to see more floods, more droughts, more wildfires.
Flames cover hundreds of square miles.
We expect more intense hurricanes.
Well, how warm is it going to get? How much will sea level rise? We don't really know where the end is.
Temperatures have hit dangerous levels.
Agricultural production is dropping because temperatures are rising.
There's about 1 billion people who are malnourished. That number just continually grows.
It's June 8th, 2015. 1 carton of milk is $12.99.
Gas has reached over $9 a gallon.
I'm scared right now, but I have to get this out.
Oh, Newsbuster has had that. I know. I was at 7-Eleven just before the show, Tom Benson, and man, $12.99 for a gallon of milk. Oh, I was just like, that's a little too much. I can't do that. But it's 2015. ABC predicted that this would happen. So $12.99 for a gallon of milk. And then I don't even know how I got here with $9 a gallon of gasoline.
Yeah.
How did I even get here?
They said a carton of milk would be $13. Unbelievable. Gasoline is $2.75 versus their $9.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how much they got wrong. Gasoline is actually cheaper. Agricultural production is not on the decrease. Yes, there's a drought in California, but there's also record rain in Texas. New York City is not underwater like it predicted. There are not more intense hurricanes. There's actually been a lot less hurricanes. So, wow, unbelievable. I wonder, does this mean that they'll admit that climate change might be a hoax? That maybe it's not man-made? Maybe that the climate is more complex than we understand?
Well, we had climate change from yesterday. The weather was different yesterday than it is today.
Oh, that's true. You're right.
So,
if we only passed this trans-Asian trade agreement that Obama wants, then the weather would stay the same every day.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
80
yes.
degrees. It would never change ever. No changes in the weather. There would never be a hurricane again. Floods? No, that's only because of climate change.
And you'll see Al Gore doing the weather on the Weather Channel.
Yeah. Oh, and then the other excuse was the violence in the Middle East. That's caused by climate change. You didn't know that? Obama said that in his speech. That's caused by climate change. So there would be no more violence in the Middle East if it only weren't for evil conservatives. Now, of course, violence in the Middle East has been going on for the past 1,000 years or so, even more than that. So I guess climate change has started a long time ago. That King Tut with his big expensive SUVs and planes, how dare he? He was destroying the planet. It's just unbelievable. All right. Speaking of unbelievable, beyond reason, crazy world today, because that's pretty much the theme of the show. Trans black. Is that a new thing? This is what I've heard everywhere. This all started because the NAACP leader, Rachel Dolezal, NAACP leader in the Alaska, Oregon, Washington State Conference. Well, actually, no, they're standing behind her, but she was a leader in one of the states. It turns out that she's not black. That she's been saying for years that she's black. And her parents came out and said they're as white as they can get. I think her ancestry is from Sweden and Norway and the whitest countries in Europe. And she's been saying she's black. Why have you been saying that? What do you think about this, Rachel?
What would you say to those who are questioning your ethnicity?
Those who are questioning, or those who are just reading the article? I mean, so the article, I feel like the article is what's questioning, and really it's Larry and Ruth Ann who are questioning. And
no, it's
so
actually your parents that are questioning. But go ahead.
I don't give two what you guys think. Like you're so far done and out of my life.
The president of the NAACP, who we think is a black woman who says she's the victim of hate crimes, might not be black. That seems like a representation.
I mean, like I said, it's more important for me to clarify that with the black community and the executive board than it really is to explain it to a community that I quite frankly don't think, really understands the definitions of race and ethnicity.
Oh, so we can't criticize her because we don't even understand race and ethnicity. Wow, I didn't know it was that complex. I thought it was just the pigmentation of your skin. By the way, doesn't this show the ridiculousness of separating ourselves based on race? Because you can't even tell sometimes. It's just the pigmentation of your skin. The shade varies. Genetically, we're all the same, people. Maybe we can stop separating ourselves from race. Just saying. But what was her excuse? She had some kind of excuse too of why she did this. You remember that, Tom? I know what it was.
Okay.
I think we're going to play some audio from our buddy Todd Starnes, who had a great point on this. But I think it was that, we're all from the African continent, Tom Benson.
Correct. Yeah.
We're all from Africa, so we're all technically African American. We're all technically black. Well, that's good news. That's great. Awesome. So that means, I don't know, I guess I can get affirmative action too and get into some jobs in college, because she says we're all from the African continent and we're all black. Now, Fox News correspondent, I found this video. He made a point that I was thinking about, and I thought I was original, but apparently not. He made an excellent point when it came to Rachel and being trans black.
When the Spokane Review asked why Ms. Dolezal had been posing as a black woman, she told them it was a multi-layered issue, that we all come from the African continent.
No, it's not.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate here. If Ms. Dolezal says she is a black woman, then she must be a black woman, right? I mean, who are we to judge? Isn't that what the cultural progressives say? And I, for one, am really shocked by all the pigmentation phobes out there. Shame on you.
I like that.
For all we know, she was born a black woman trapped in a white woman's body. The way I see it, if that reasoning is good enough for Bruce Jenner, ought to be good enough for Miss Dolezal. Folks, that's what happens when you open Pandora's box. Anything goes.
So we have all, the left should not have a problem with this, is his point. I completely agree. We were all lectured last week about Bruce Caitlyn Jenner. Even though he's a man, we were lectured that because he felt like a woman all his life in a man's body, we can't judge. And we accept now that Caitlyn is a woman. So we were totally lectured on that. So I guess that means that she says she's black, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
She's black.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like I could hit 62 home runs this season, so that makes me a baseball star?
Yes. Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Okay, great.
Well, I mean, you're a baseball star trapped in a non-baseball star's body.
In a fat man's body.
I didn't say that. You might have said I didn't say that. But, yeah, she's just a black woman trapped in a white woman's body. It kind of reminds me of that Chappelle Show bit that he did where it was a black guy who was a leader of the KKK. He was blind black guy. He didn't know he was black, and he was the leader of the KKK. And they told him he was black. He's like, talked about how much he hates black. That was a great bit. Oh, man. But that we have to accept the fact that she's black. Who are we to judge? The left should support her. In fact, we should go beyond that. She is courageous. She deserves a Courage Award for coming out as black, even though she's actually white. Told you, Beyond Reason Crazy World today. All right, this is the theme, Beyond Reason Crazy World today. Speaking of that, aren't you just sick and tired of gender classifications when you shop for toys? Aren't you just tired of that? You're listening to Beyond Reason Radio, BeyondReasonRadio.com, News Radio 1025 WFLA.
Listen to the latest episodes of Beyond Reason. Download the podcast at Spreaker.com. Download the iHeartRadio app and catch the Beyond Reason Radio podcast. Just search Bud Henninger or stream the show live by searching News Radio 1025 WFLA.
Yes, welcome back to Beyond Reason Radio here, News Radio 1025 WFLA, and streaming live at BeyondReasonRadio.com. I got a tweet from Jeffrey who said, Yaffee, I am trans species. Please address me as the cheetah that I feel I am. Thank you, Roar. That's good. I like that. I just like the roar at the end. That's why I had to share that. All right, you're listening to the voice of the millennial generation, the voice of reason that sifts through everything in the news that is, well, beyond reason. And I went to the last break and I asked you a question. 407-674-1025. Aren't you sick and tired of those sexists at Target who classify toys based on gender? It's really, how could they do that?
Smack in the middle of the blue kind of boy area was an aisle sign that said building sets, girls building sets. And I just thought that was so frustrating.
Abby Bechtel's tweet to Target read, "Don't do this." And it clearly struck a chord with more than 2,000 retweets and about 2,000 favorites.
I was very surprised when this tweet took off.
Abby believes gender should be removed from the way toys are sold.
Because it makes it seem like it's so normal for building sets to be for boys. And, oh, by the way, you know, girls can build stuff too, we guess.
Abby, a mother of 3 boys, says the social media response has been mostly positive. One person wrote, "Girl versus no identifier is the worst part of this." But another tweeted, "There are more important issues." Others, more harsh.
Well, a lot of people are saying things like, women are just so thin-skinned, they need to get over it, and, you know, feminists are always looking for something to be angry about.
Target tweeted it will share Abby's concerns with the right teams for review. And in a statement to News Channel 5, a store spokesman said guests prefer having a variety of indicators that can help inform and guide their shopping trip. Target also saying the topic is of great interest and will continue to listen to guests.
I would love to see more of the conversation around how we gender things for kids that don't need to be gendered.
So she's very, very upset, very distraught, Tom Benson. What happened, where this all started, is she put out a tweet of a picture at a Target store. And it was in one of the toy aisles, and it said builders sets, and then below that it said girls builders sets. How dare you, Target? How dare you? What it means is that there was builder sets, because usually it's boys. Did I say that out loud? Oh no, I'm so sexist. I'm sorry. Usually it's boys. Builders set toy sets that, you know, builder sets are usually for boys, but they made one specifically for girls as well that girls might like, because believe it or not, whether she wants to believe it or not, girls and guys are not the same,
especially at that age, you know, that buy builder sets, you know.
Exactly. But she was very upset, so she posts this on Twitter and it goes viral. And people are outraged like her. How dare they say one is just builder sets and the other is girls builder sets? They should at least say boys builder sets and girls builder sets. And she's saying there should be no gender classification. Look, a girl can build just as well as a boy can build. So she's very upset. And Target came out and was like, look, we do this because that's what the customers want. They want the classifications. We do this for reasons. They like to be able to find things better because, believe it or not, girls are not the same as guys.
Really?
I know. I'm so sexist. How dare I say such a thing? By the way, I guess that means... Did you hear that story earlier this week? We talked about how Army Rangers were trying to allow girls in it, and every one of them failed.
Yeah.
I guess they're sexist at the Army over there, the Rangers.
So now they're going to change the requirements.
Yeah, even though if they change the requirements, that would be sexist. Mm-hmm. That would be sexist because it would say that girls can't live up to the same thing as boys can in the Army Rangers. Yeah, we'll see how far we'll see what the feminists think when they do that. I'm sure then this person will be all supportive of it, even though she's very upset of the gender classifications. I wonder if at Target, I should do this. I should go to Target and take a picture of the bathroom signs, the girls' bathroom sign and the boys' bathroom sign next to each other and say, "No, Target, no. How dare you, Target? What are you saying? Girls can't go to the bathroom the same way that guys can? How dare you? Shame. Shame on you, Target." Wow. And by the way, I saw another story, speaking of gender classifications and all this stuff. I found another story, Fox. I didn't get to read too much into it, but it was talking about how Virgin the company Virgin, they own Virgin Atlantic and Records and all that stuff. They're going to start giving maybe a year maternity leave.
Paid
maternity leave. But not only that, but they're going to give a year paternity leave.
Yeah.
Paternity leave for fathers. So the mothers and the fathers will both get the time off to take care of the baby. I wonder what the feminists think about that. It's only fair. What are you saying, that a guy can't take care of a baby like a woman? Of course, it's going to be interesting when the guy tries to breastfeed the baby. I don't know, but the guy can't take care of that baby like a woman. The guy was there at the pregnancy too. That guy needs time off to go through that for the rest. To take care of that baby for a year. By the way, doesn't a year seem a little excessive in either case? I don't know. How long usually is maternity leave?
Usually it's a few months. It's like 3 months, 120 days, something like that. Yeah.
A whole year. Wow. But so I saw that, and I think I am gonna do that later. I'm gonna go to Target tomorrow and take a picture of the men's and women's bathroom signs and say, "No, Target, no." How dare you?
I hear an arrest.
I wonder if I could get that to go viral. That would be awesome.
I hear an arrest warrant coming for you tomorrow.
I'm not going to go in the bathrooms, even though I should be able to.
Officer, there's a man lurking around the woman's bathroom area.
Come on, dude. Why isn't she outraged? I just don't understand why she isn't outraged by this. Speaking of Bruce, Caitlyn Jenner, he, she, man, or whatever. I believe you told me this morning. What is E? What was it? E Network that's doing the reality show?
Yeah, he's got a new show that starts July 25th. It's called Call Me Kate, Kait, and it's his new reality show, or her new reality show. And guess how much E reportedly is paid Jenner for the series?
How much?
$5 million. So you don't think there's a lot of hype going on to make sure people tune into the show?
I'm just really upset.
Yeah.
That this girl at the NAACP, she should deserve a reality show.
Sure. Well, maybe that's what she's bucking for. Who knows?
She deserves $5 million. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
That she's being called courageous, Caitlyn Jenner, for getting plastic surgery. Yeah, plastic surgery is courageous now. And getting paid $5 million to do a reality TV show. How does she do it? She is just so courageous. How could she possibly suffer through getting and spending $5 million? But yeah, what they should do is they should get the Rachel from the NAACP, who is white but says she's black. What do you think they should call it? Maybe they should call it "Call Me Black."
Sure, why not?
Call me black.
Yeah,
yeah. Look, E, you can take it. You don't even have to pay me too much royalties, just a little bit of royalties for coming up with the idea for that reality show. Unbelievable. All right. Take a break here. You're listening to Beyond Reason Radio, beyondreasonradio.com, News Radio 102.5 WFLA.
If you like Beyond Reason Radio, well, make sure to show it by liking the Facebook page at facebook.com/Beyond Reason Radio. Subscribe to the Beyond Reason podcast today on your Stitcher app and hear the voice of reason anytime.
Yes, welcome back to Beyond Reason Radio, the voice of reason, sifting through everything in the news. That is Beyond Reason. So, I was thinking maybe Barack Obama, because he's supporting the trade deal and Republicans seem to support that. I mean, maybe he's had a change. He's trans party affiliation? I don't know, because now all of a sudden he's big on free trade. He's sounding more like a Republican. Was he always, maybe he was a Republican trapped in a Democrat's body this whole time. And now he's changed it to something else. Or maybe the Republicans are confused. I think this is probably more the case. They're The Republicans were Democrats trapped in Republican bodies and trapped in the Republican Party. I think I'm going to call that trans party. I think especially the Republican leadership. There were Democrats trapped in Republican Party, in the Republican Party, or trapped in Republican Party bodies. Yeah, by the way, we talk about Obamatrade, Obamacare. One thing I'm going to miss about when Obama leaves office is all these cool names. Obamatrade, Obamacare. It doesn't, Rubio Care would kind of sound kind of cool, I guess. I don't know. Some of these Clinton trade, it doesn't roll off the tongue as well as Obamatrade or Obamacare. I forget what some of the other ones were. There was some other ones as well. But speaking of Obamacare, it's been big news even in Florida. And of course, we had the news this week that the House voted against the Medicaid expansion in Florida, which basically would have cemented Obamacare in Florida, and it would have cost the state millions, if not billions of dollars in the future. And of course, the federal government was going to pay some at first, but who knows if they were going to continue to pay. It would cost money way over the long term. And then the Republicans who voted against this, it's the usual. They say they don't care about the poor or whatever. But what just amazes me about the whole Obamacare argument is that no one is addressing the real issue with healthcare. The real issue with healthcare is not coverage or all this other stuff. It's cost. It's costing too much. The cost of getting healthcare, getting surgery, getting healthcare services, getting medicine, that is what is skyrocketing. So you would think that maybe the real solution would be for the politicians or people to sit down, a leadership to sit down and say, okay, here's the problem. The problem is cost. What we need to find out is why. What is causing these costs to go up?
Greed.
Greed?
It's the same reason why tuitions go up at colleges and universities whenever government grants come around.
Well, exactly.
They want more grants, so we raise the price and we need more help.
Yeah, and that means Obamacare is only going to make it worse because now you have all these subsidies. That just encourages the insurance companies to raise costs even more. Plus, you've added all these new taxes, all these new regulations into the business. That's going to cost more money. So when you have the problem in healthcare, which is cost, and then they don't address the real problem. Now, I guess that's how Washington really is. But I was just thinking about that this week. The real problem is cost. Let's address that. What can we do? What solutions can we do in the healthcare market, in the private market, that would help bring down the cost of care? The only solutions I see, of course, are to get rid of a lot of the regulations. There is no reason why I need to be covered for acupuncture, why I would need to be covered for maybe a woman is covered for their pregnancy and all that. I'm never going to get pregnant, so I'm not going to need to be covered for stuff like that. But instead, they increased the amount of stuff you have to be covered for, not decreased it. What a young person like me really needs is just worst case scenario insurance. Something that would cover in the worst case scenario. Instead of covering everything. I would just need it if I got in a car accident, if I had some kind of major illness that I really needed a health insurance, I could get it. So you could have, maybe a higher deductible, or it would be a lot cheaper. I wouldn't need all this extra coverage. There is a simple solution right there to address the cost. I guess what started thinking me about this week, I usually don't talk about my own life, but my sister had some health problems and she was in the hospital, and I'm only wondering what her medical bills are going to be like just for the one surgery she had. By the way, thank God that she ended up being okay. For those who prayed out there, thank you. She could use her prayers and recovery, but thank God she ended up being okay. But I was just thinking her medical bills are going to be expensive. Obamacare didn't address any of that. The costs are still high and they're still going up even more. There need to be real solutions to bring the costs down. And I would really hope that the Republicans or a Republican running for president would be able to do that, would be able to address that. The only one who's really even talked about it, of course, is Ben Carson, who is in the medical field, and he's talking about health savings accounts. That's another great idea to bring the cost down. But we have to get government out of it, because anytime you add the government and government subsidies and government regulations and government spending, that is what's going to really increase the costs. That's what's really going to increase it. So it's not addressing that. A Florida solution, which is very interesting, has been a big debate this week in Florida. There's a bill that some are promoting that would help nurse practitioners, and it would expand their prescribing authority. Right now, nurse practitioners, they're in a lot of doctors' offices and they see patients because there's a doctor shortage, or it's cheaper and it helps to get more patients through. But it would be a great idea to expand their prescribing authority. And we're one of the only states that doesn't do this. But there's a new bill being proposed in Congress, and there's a lot of people who are against it. Now, the National Governors Association and Florida Tax Watch support expanding practitioners' prescribing authority, but the Florida Association of Nurse Practitioners, they're even saying that there's going to be a doctor shortage coming up, and this has to be addressed. So here is one thing, but the fight is going through Congress now. It would give them too much authority. It would be dangerous for patients. Here is a simple solution right here. A very simple solution to maybe look at one of the real problems in the healthcare industry, doctor shortages or cost, and maybe address that problem. And this would address it in Florida. It would help the healthcare industry in Florida. It would encourage more people to get in the healthcare industry so we could have more nurse practitioners getting jobs. It would help the economy. It would help all these things. A simple solution to me. Do you disagree with me? Is there any doctors out there who disagree with me? 407-674-1025. You want to comment on the last thing. But to me, I find stories like this, and I don't understand what the debate is. I don't understand what the fight is. Because we have to address the issues of cost. So we have a simple solution like this where the legislature could get together and they could talk about these things. And they could say, okay, here's a simple solution right here. Let's expand nurse practitioner authority, and we can get more people through the system, get rid of a lot of the waiting lines, maybe decrease the costs in some of the doctor's offices and some of the procedures. And that would work. So there's, I talked about Beyond Reason Crazy World. There's some Beyond Reason radio solution. That's Solution World in that segment. So we can get to that. All right, the last thing I want to address, I only have a couple minutes here. The last thing I want to address, maybe I should have talked about this more, but I'm just sick of the whole argument. We had the whole thing this week in McKinney, Texas, where the cop was videotaped tackling a black girl to the ground, and it brings up the whole issue. You all seen it. Brings up the whole issue of race and cops are they racist? And they treat blacks differently. If you talk to a lot of blacks out there, they'll say categorically yes. There's no statistical evidence, but they'll just say yes. And I feel like this issue is never going to get solved because you have one side, many African Americans, what they want is they want the white community and white cops to admit that white cops are racist against blacks. So they want white cops to admit that there's a problem and admit that there's racism against blacks. Whites are never going to admit that. It's never going to happen. You're not going to have a bunch of white cops admit that there's this racism in police academy against blacks. It's just not going to happen. And then you have whites who say they want the black communities to admit that there's a problem in the black community, and that's what's really causing it. And you're never going to have them admit that. that's the problem. It's probably somewhere in the middle. But that's where we are. So I feel like I can't even talk about this issue because you have two sides and it's never going to be solved. All right, thank you guys for listening to Beyond Reason Radio. I think I'm going to go see Jurassic World this weekend. I hope to really see it. It looks really good. Please, Chris Pratt, don't disappoint me. Don't disappoint me. The movie really looks good. Go out to see it. I'm probably going to go to Doc's Streetside Grill tomorrow with my mom if you want to see me out there at Doc's Streetside Grill. And I'll be back on Money and Bud Hedinger Live, and I'll be back here next week. Catch you guys then.
Oh, well,